Woman's husband walks out after accusing her of predetermining their baby's gender. I, 27 female, and my husband, 28 male, have been married for 4 years. His parents, his mother specifically, and I have never had any problems, but we've never quite meshed or seen eye to eye. We've always got along and been civil. Our future family has been the talk for years. My husband will be the last of his siblings to have children. All of his siblings have at least one. It's been a running joke in the family that if our first happens to be a girl, she won't be accepted, because everyone else had a boy for a firstborn. The joke has never sat quite right with me, but I've laughed it off because I don't want to start anything, and maybe I'm just being sensitive. Fast forward to a few months ago when we started trying. It took about 3 months for me to get pregnant. We tracked my cycle and had scheduled sex for the best chance. Infertility runs in my family, and my hubby and I agreed on a big family, so I've been worried about starting a family so late in the game. When I did get pregnant, we were overjoyed. We had all the typical couple conversations that come with having a baby: the excitement, names, nursery themes, gender predictions, etc. He talked about wanting a son first so he could be the big, strong leader for all his younger siblings and carry on the family name, a very big deal to him, instilled by his parents. I expressed my desire to have a little girl I could dress up and match with. It became a playful banter. He'd refer to the baby as son, and I would call the baby our daughter. About a week before our gender scan, I searched up all the old wives' tales and made us a chart we could fill out together to see who would hypothetically win our little bet. It included the ring test, Chinese horoscope, heartbeat, cravings, etc. The results ended up being about 50/50 in the end, which made us even more excited to find out for certain at our scan. The following week we went to our appointment and discovered that our baby was a girl. We were both extremely excited. Hubby was disappointed to lose but told me he was overjoyed to be raising a daughter by my side. That night we called our families to share the news. After calling his family, his mother asked to speak to him privately. I went to bed alone as their conversation carried on for well over an hour. The following morning I woke up alone. There was a note on my husband's nightstand explaining that someone would be by the house to pick up his belongings later this evening. I immediately tried to call him only to realize he had blocked my number. I then tried his mom. His mother picked up on the first ring. Before I had the chance to get a word in, she started chewing me out, calling me a manipulative bitch. I asked her what I had done, and she told me I'd ruined her son's reputation with my inexcusable behaviors and tendencies. I let her finish her rant before kindly asking her what the fuck she was taking about. She told me the divorce papers were already written up, and I wouldn't have the chance to tear apart the family like I had been intending to do all this time. I again, slightly less kindly this time, asked her what the fuck she was talking about. To which she told me my husband would be leaving me because our child is a girl. I was gobsmacked. I explained to her that it takes two to tango and there's no way to truly decide the gender of the baby, and if her or her son had a problem with the gender, it was his fault, as it's his chromosome that determines the gender. But she had proof that I'd handpicked her to have a girl. Like I said before, we used a calendar to determine which days would be best for sex. Well, Mill accused me of forcing him to do it with me on the specific day which the Chinese horoscope would point to girl. She also interrogated me on the sex position we used to conceive the baby, which I gave her a piece of my mind, told her that was none of her business, but she smugly informed me my husband had already told her, and the position we used makes it 60% more likely to have a girl that way. If anyone's currently trying for a girl, specifically doing cowgirl sometime in the middle of February, should do the trick every time apparently. She finished off by telling me that my clear preference for my family name was disgusting, and she was glad to finally be rid of me and my manipulative ways before hanging up. I've had no contact with my husband since, and it's been over a month. He's blocked me on everything. I can't help but feel that this hasn't all been his choice, but then again he's a grown-ass adult, so I can't imagine his mother controlling him like that. I've been staying with my sister since it all went down. She says I can stay as long as I need, but I'm thinking I want to get my own place, maybe even a few states away. What do I do? Should I pack up and move on? Should I continue trying to contact my husband? Any advice would be appreciated. Comment 1. This situation is incredibly toxic, and it seems like your husband and his mother are trying to control you in unhealthy ways. You have every right to protect yourself and your child from this, and if they're not willing to support you, it might be time to move on. Comment 2. Yo. I'm so sorry you're going through this. It's clear you're not the asshole here. Your husband and his mother are the ones causing unnecessary drama. At this point, focusing on your well-being and your baby is the best choice. Don't waste your energy on people who aren't treating you with respect. Update 1. Thank you all for all the love, It means so much to me right now. I'd also like to add that I've seen a few comments about my story being copied. It breaks my heart to think of anyone else having to go something similar. My heart goes out to them. Also, I should have mentioned originally that I had a gut feeling to record the call with my mother-in-law, so I have all of that on hand if it's needed in the future. I'm planning to try catching my husband on his way out of work sometime next week. I'd like to hear his side of the story. I've decided, however, that if there is any saving our relationship, I'll be changing my last name back to my maiden name, and our daughter will be taking my last name, or at the very least have a hyphenated name. Call me feminist or whatnot, but it will be non-negotiable. I'll also be requiring many boundaries between me and his mother, and she will not be in my child's life until she can find it in her to apologize to me sincerely and change her attitude towards us. Update 2. Wow. I honestly haven't been on Reddit at all since my last update because, well, growing a human is hard as it is, and then add my crazy life on top of it. But after getting hundreds of emails from Reddit today, I realized it must have been shared somewhere else to be blowing up like this, and now that there's so many of you, I figure I owe you all an update. So here it is. Hopefully I can get this all typed out in a way that makes sense. Even though it's been a few weeks since this all went down, I'm still in shock and I haven't been able to collect my thoughts. Let's just blame it on the pregnancy brain, and pretend that my life isn't falling apart before my own eyes. I was able to catch my husband as he was leaving work one night, and got his side of the story out of him like I had hoped. As suspected, he admitted that he was excited for a baby girl, and after speaking to his mom, she forced him to leave and block me. His mother already had the divorce papers ready to go. I tried to tell him that we could fix this. We could raise our daughter together away from his mother. I know I sound fucked in the head and naive for this, but I grew up in a household without a father figure, and I was hopeful my daughter could have a different home life experience than what I had, not to discredit my mother. She's a badass woman, and I hope I can be half of the woman she is for my daughter one day. Anyways, my husband had none of it. He said that he realized how conniving and manipulative and abusive I had been throughout our entire relationship, and he did want to actually go through with the divorce. He said he'd have no problem giving me full custody of the thing that's growing inside of me. That's when I lost all hope. Fuck him. I have no problem leaving a man who's so easily brainwashed by his mother like that. I'll raise this baby alone. That's bad enough. But here's the real icing on the cake. I received a phone call from my soon-to-be ex-husband's brother's wife. We've always been quite close, and she's been my saving grace throughout my pregnancy, giving me all the tips for nausea, etc. She has 3 of her own. 2 boys and a girl anyways. She informed me over the phone that she overheard a conversation at weekly Sunday dinner that mother-in-law and husband are trying to blindside me in court and take full custody. I was livid, full on seeing red. I called mother-in-law straight away and demanded to speak to my husband. All he had to say for himself was that he realized he didn't want any of his offspring to be raised by such a manipulative freak, and even though he doesn't actually want her, he's sure he can grow to love her again. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I know I have a good case for myself, but I'm fucking terrified they'll win the battle and take everything from me. It brings tears to my eyes thinking about my daughter growing up somewhere where she isn't loved. Even if custody is split 50/50, I'll have no control over the lies they're guaranteed to feed her. My emotions are going haywire trying to write all this out, so I think I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for all of the love and support you all have shown me and my baby girl. The internet can truly be an amazing place. Edit, adding that my brother-in-law and his wife are planning on leaving the family dynamic after seeing the way I've been treated. They have a daughter of their own, and while she's been accepted as she wasn't the firstborn, they're very uncomfortable with the misogyny within the family. Bill is the firstborn, and I think the what-ifs are fucking with his head. Also had no idea I submitted this to a podcast subreddit. My original post kept getting taken down on AITA, and my sister recommended I post it where I did. If somebody wants to send me a link to listen, I would be interested to hear it. Although please spare me the details if it's negative. I don't know if my heart can take it. This just took a turn. I had a couple people reach out with this. The husband allegedly left a comment on the original post. I'm including the link to the screenshot, but also a transcription of the comment, as it seems to be deleted. What the is wrong with you, Aspen? I loved you and I loved our daughter. You paint me out to be such a fucking villain, and none of these pea-brained people on the internet can see through them lies. Manipulation at its finest. You were such a fucking bitch our whole goddamn lie of a relationship, and when we were trying to get pregnant everything was about you. I can't believe it took me so long to see all the every single sign. You were so fucking obsessive over your stupid calendar, and we hardly ever used it. You always say you aren't in the mood, or we did it yesterday, I'm too tired, we can skip a day. It was never about me or my feelings, and then when you actually got pregnant it became even more about you. I'm not eating eggs anymore, they make me sick, I don't want to go to Sunday dinner, I'm not up to it tonight, let's not get sushi for dinner. Because it's bad for the baby. I was so ducking nice to you, Aspen, I literally doted on you like a fucking Prince Charming and you never even recognized me. I can't believe you string me along all those years. Fuck you and fuck the fetus. I'm sick of your games. I can't fucking believe I find out about this post on a podcast my girlfriend listens to. You betray me one fucking month until you lose it all like I did. See you in court, bitch. People are obviously now wondering what is real, and if this is all fake. Update 3. Thank you so much for all of your support. I've been in contact with my lawyer about how best to proceed, and for legal reasons I'm not allowed to give any more information at this point in time, but I've seen all of your messages and I'm truly so grateful for all of the advice and care being sent our way. I have a very good lawyer working with me, and both me and baby are, and will be safe through the coming months. Once again, thank you all so much for your kindness, it's helped me feel somewhat sane through all of this, and made me realize that I am entitled to feel the ways I'm feeling. You've truly given me a community where people have my back and truly want what's best for me. I'll be logging off until things have settled and baby is born. Maybe I'll return for a final update at some point, but for now I'm focusing on my own health, and the health of my baby as I prepare for the courtroom. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for yelling at my wife after she put up a sex sign to stop my mom from knocking on our bedroom door? So I've been married to my wife for 4 years. We have a medium-sized apartment. For the last 2 months my mother has been staying off and on in our guest room. My dad recently passed away and it's hard for her to live in their house alone, so I've been letting her stay with us. My wife and her have never particularly got along. But I expected her to understand why it's important to me that she overlooked this just for a little while. I mean, she lost her husband of 40 years, she's fragile, and I really want to be able to do what I can to make her feel better. My mom's presence has changed our routine a little bit. Mainly our nighttime routine. She'll usually come knock on our door to talk. My wife hates this. Partially because it interrupts our intimacy. Usually when she's over we just don't make love. So this past week I noticed my mom wasn't coming in at night. So we had normal nighttime habits. Yesterday Mom pulled me aside and told me that the sign I let my wife put on the door at night was disgusting, and not something she ever needed to know. She also said that she was very hurt that I don't want to speak to her since I'm all she has left now. I told her I had no idea what she was talking about. She said the sign about sex. I still had no idea and talked to my wife about it when she got home. She admitted to it. She said that she made a sign to keep my mom out of our hair at nights. On the sign was written, "Please do not disturb, unless you want to see me fucking your son." She thought it was funny was necessary, but I was mad about it. I took the sign, crumpled it up and tossed it in the garbage. I then went off on my wife about how inappropriate embarrassing this was. She told me it's my fault that we needed this and it's just joke. I slept on the couch last night and she's still pissed at me. Comment 1. Your wife's sign was completely disrespectful and inappropriate, especially considering your mom's grief. You were right to be upset, and it's important to address this behavior. Comment 2. While your mom's presence may be tough, your wife crossed a line with that sign. It's crucial to have a conversation about respect and boundaries in your marriage. Update. Some people asked our ages. I'm 26 and my wife is 25. We have no kids and are waiting until we save up some more money before we start trying for one. So I took a lot of the nicer comments here to heart, so I took action. First I sat down with my mother and tried to get to the root of this issue. She told me that she's been doing this as she's just been so lonely and she wants to feel connected to her only flesh and blood she has left. This made me really feel for her, so I went to my wife to apologize and try to negotiate something. My wife, however, told me that she doesn't want my mom living here anymore. I tried to see if she could just let her stay one more weekends, but she rejected. Me and my wife sat her down and I told her that we felt like we needed more privacy from her, so we asked her to leave for the time being. This set my mom off. She started crying and accusing my wife of trying to, her words, break us up. I felt bad. Like awful. I tried just talking to her and I wanted to get to the root of why she felt like she needed to be here. She said that now I'm her only flesh and blood alive, and if my wife keeps me wrapped around her finger with sex, I'll forget all about her, so she was trying to interrupt that. She also was worried that if I get my wife pregnant, I'll be too busy with her to see her again. And I'll be stuck with my wife when I could do so much better. This made my wife very upset, and I told my mom that I think she needed to leave then. The crying turned into full-on bawling and yelling at my wife. Eventually I was able to get her out. I told her that I don't think it's best that we speak until she gets over her issues with my wife. Now looking at this, I feel awful. I had a presences who actively wanted my wife gone and didn't want us to be intimate, or have couple time. And to top it off, I argued with my wife she wanted to remove said presence. Like I said, I won't be contacting my mother until she apologizes and my accepts it, and I don't think she'll be staying over anytime in the near future. I will also be spoiling my wife rotten until I can make this up to her.